Welcome back to Illustrator. We are going to work on a few more lessons here out of the first chapter, and we're going to set our essential preferences first. So we need to go to Edit and Preferences, and then General. We're going to set up several different preferences here. So keyboard increment, that is actually what it needs to be set at, or we could change this to right there. So 0.0139 inches. That is equal to 1 point of space. Also, we need to make sure that's 0, and make sure this one is 0.17 inches. Okay. Then we need to go to Units. Go to Units, make sure this is inches, points, points. So those are already set up for me good. And then finally, Grids and Guides. Make sure this is cyan lines. We want this to be light red. Lines 1 inch, 8. And so those are good. From there, we need to click on Smart Guides, and we want this actually to be green, right there, 0, 45, 90, 135, make sure all that's good to go. And then, last but not least, we're going to go to User Interface. We want to make sure Medium Dark is selected. Once that's selected, then we're ready to go. You can click OK. Okay, so we are actually going to open up the file that we worked with earlier. We closed it, now we need to open it back up. So if it's here, you can click on it. You may have to go to File, Open, and find it. It should be in your Handouts folder, but AI1-2 is the file we need. So this is what your screen should look like now. We may need to go to View, and we want to make sure that the bounding box command is set to show bounding box. Okay, so right now it says hide bounding box. We actually want it to say show bounding box. Then make sure your selection tool is selected. And we want to click on the pink square to select it. So this is the bounding box right around here. We want to make sure that that is on. Okay, so we had clicked on show bounding box earlier. After you select this, if you go back in here, you'll see that it says show bounding box. So if we click on that, it changes this slightly. It puts a bunch of different handles around this object. You can then use those handles to resize the object in different ways, like so. Many of you are probably familiar with that already. Once you've resized it a couple times, undo everything. Control-Z will allow you to undo. Okay, so when we were resizing this, if you resize from the corner, you can basically make it any size that you want, or any shape. I'm going to undo that. If you hold down on Shift, holding down on Shift will resize it proportionally. It will keep it a square. So holding down on Shift resizes things proportionally. I'm going to undo those. Now, go over here to the circle. If we hold down on Alt and resize, it resizes it from the center. So you can see like that, it kept it centered, it kept it on the same location, it just made it bigger. If you hold down on Alt and Shift, it will resize it from the center and make it proportional. So again, Alt, Center, resize and make it proportional. Undo both of those moves. Okay, next we're going to select all. You can either go up to select and all, or Control-A will do that. That will select everything. The bounding box, as you can see, appears around all the objects. And then using skills that you just learned, which hint hint will be Shift and Alt. If you hold down on Shift and Alt, we can resize these in proportion and make them quite a bit smaller. Although that didn't really do it in proportion, did it? There you go, just like that. Now you can also, if we go up to File and Revert, and then Revert, it will take it back to its original status of the file. Okay, next we're going to talk about copying and duplicating objects. First thing we need to do is go to View and Hide Bounding Box, and we're going to select the star, and we're going to copy it. So I think you can go to Edit and Copy, but you can also see that Control-C is the keyboard shortcut. So Control-C, press that, nothing happens. But then we're going to paste it. Again, you can go to Edit, Paste, or we can press Control-V, and we now have a copy of the star. But we're going to undo that. So Control-Z will undo. Okay, this time we're going to go to Edit, and then Paste in Front. Okay, so it's actually, there is a copy now right on top of what we already had there. We're then going to press I. So pressing I will give us the eyedropper tool. And we're going to click the pink square. So that's going to set our color to pink. So the star takes on the same fill and stroke colors as the square. And you can then press the arrow key on your keyboard. I'm pressing the right arrow key, obviously. Press it 10 times, and that will move the star over. Okay, then we need to deselect. So go to Select and Deselect. After deselecting, we're going to go back to Edit. Now we don't have to copy because we already copied something. This time we're going to paste in back. And it's kind of hard to see. Nothing really happened there. But a copy of the star was pasted directly behind the original orange star. We're going to go back to the eyedropper tool and click on the green right here. We're going to press and hold Shift and then press the left arrow key right there. That's going to move that over. Then press and hold Control. So by pressing and holding Control, that will take us back to our selection tool. And we're just going to click anywhere. That's going to deselect all. Now go back to the selection tool. We want the selection tool selected right there. You want to select the green circle, so make sure this is selected. If we hold down on the Alt key and click and drag, that will create a copy of the circle. Again, that was the Alt key. I'll undo and show you again. Alt, we're going to drag this over. We're going to put it right on top of the square, just like that. That's what your screen should look like. And you're going to want to save this. Alright, so after saving this, we are actually done with it. We can close it. And we need to open a new file. AI1-3. And we're going to go to Object on the menu bar and then Show All. That's going to show us everything that we need. It was originally saved with hidden objects. Now they appear. I'm going to go back to Object and Group. Object and Group. And then make sure the selection tool is clicked and then click off of that. And then click the pink circle. As you can see, all of them are selected. They are a group now. So then click on the pasteboard to deselect them. Click the Direct Selection tool, and then click the pink circle. Only the circle is selected this time. So that's what the Direct Selection tool will do. Okay, select all, which is Control A, or you can go to Select and All. And now we're going to ungroup these objects. So clicking on Ungroup will then make them their own object again. If we go to the Selection tool, if we click on the small circle, or excuse me, the small square, you'll see that you can now move it around by itself. Okay, then go to Object. Oops, excuse me. Okay, so if you haven't done so already, go ahead and select this small square again. And we're going to lock it in place. So Object, Lock, and Selection. You'll see that it's disappeared, the handle's disappeared. You can no longer move this object around. So if you wanted to lock something in place, you could do that. To unlock it, you just go back to Object, Unlock All. Now you'll be able to move it around again. Okay, next, select all. So Control A or Select All, either one. And go to Object, Hide, and Selection. And that's going to make those disappear again. Let's go back to Object and Show All. Okay, this time we're going to hide the pink circle and the small square, just like that. So all that should be left now is this big square. Save that, and we'll be ready for our next steps. Okay, last thing we're going to do here is let's go to View and make sure Smart Guides is checked. Mine already was, so we're in good shape. And we need to make sure the Selection tool is selected, and we're going to move this around. And when you get close to the center, it will tell you actually if it's centered. So you notice when I was about right here, there was that green line there. As I scoot up, once it says center, we want to let go. Okay, so we know that is completely, perfectly centered on our artboard there. Okay, then we're going to go to show those hidden objects. So Object and Show All to make them more visible. And we're going to do the same thing with our pink circle. We want to try to get it perfectly centered. Alright, so there it says intersect. I believe that's the center point. And you can also use this to align objects. So if we come up here, that will show you that it's perfectly aligned with the top. Go ahead and take it down here, and it can be perfectly aligned right there. Save that, and then close this file. We are done.